Today, Junior?
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed to the world of D4 PoE and of course my favorite LE. Now when I woke up this morning, one of my community members sent me this video. They know what I like and said, hey, have you watched this yet? And I said no. And as my morning progressed, two other people sent me the video and said, hey, you have to check this out. Now what we're going to be looking at is Asmongold reacting to Legendary Drops video on the value proposition of D4 compared to PoE and LE. And of course, from a value proposition, you're probably going to guess how this video is going to go. But we want Asmongold to play Last Epoch. Love him or hate him, he's got a huge community, and we want him to try and love this game. So we're going to watch a little bit of this video now. This video is over 31 minutes. I'm going to link the entire thing in the description, and we're probably going to check out 7-8 minutes of it. And before I hit play, this coming Saturday on Twitch, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, I will be holding my Christmas stream. We're going to do game giveaways every single hour. We're going to be spinning the Action RPG wheel for merch, and we're going to be playing the Legendary Hat game, where any subs, you get to flip a hat and find a prize under it. It's always going to be fun. It's always a good time. Saturday on Twitch. All right, I'm done. Asmon, take over.
In the competitive landscape of action RPGs, Diablo 4 is not an isolated phenomenon. It exists alongside notable titles like Path of Exile, Grim Dawn, and Last Epoch. Each one of them...
It's also like, for a long time, I don't think that really... Like, Diablo 4 doesn't really need to compete a lot against PoE 1, I don't think. And the reason why is that Diablo 4's graphics are a lot better than PoE's graphics, and people perceive that as being a better game, especially in a very, very large mainstream audience.
Bingo. Oh yeah, that is 100% right. The server performance, which PoE servers are great, but moreover, the visual experience, like, is it built on Unreal Engine 5, or what does it look like? How does the combat feel? A lot of mainstream are always going to go with what looks better visually.
Grim Dawn is too small to even be a competitor or something that's worth talking about. Last Epoch, I think, is a great game, but it also still doesn't have that high-quality AAA polish that people perceive good games to have. And I will play Last Epoch at some point, right? I want to, at least. So it's...
Okay. We want you to as well. He said it there. I will play Last Epoch. Asmon, February 21st, game launch. Come to the party. Let's continue.
It's not like I don't want to play the game because of that, but like I can just acknowledge that the average consumer doesn't see things that way. And I think with Diablo 4, it's the exact same. It's the exact opposite, right? Is Diablo 4 looks really good. It has a very, very like surface level compelling reason to play it. And because of that, I think that's why you see so many people that are just like casual gamer dads that are playing the game.
Them bringing a unique flavor to the genre. So let's take a closer look at how Diablo 4 stacks up against some of these competitors.
Yeah.
First, there's Path of Exile, a game renowned for its deep character customization, intricate item systems, and free-to-play model that respects players' choice. It has set a high bar for what players expect in terms of content richness and engagement without heavy monetization, with arguably one of the better free-to-play models that are out there.
It doesn't have one of the better free-to-play models that's out there. It has the best free-to-play model that's out there.
Correct.
It's literally the best. Period.
With now over 10 years of continued support for Path of Exile, it's stacked with endgame content systems and a variety of builds, items, and more. Then we have Last Epoch, a newer entrant, yet making significant waves with its engaging time.
He's saying Last Epoch. Do you hear him? Sorry.
Time travel storyline, arguably the best crafting system in ARPGs, satisfying combat mechanics, and a transparent development process. It's a testament to how indie studios can compete in a space that's dominated by bigger players.
The best crafting, the best in-game stash and storage system without needing a third party, and the best loot filter. When you are talking in-game, not needing third-party tools, all-inclusive for the game, Last Epoch is the best across all three categories, in my opinion.
I think that like you guys got to keep in mind, Grinding Gear Games used to be an indie studio. Back in the day, like you know what PoE advertising was? Chris Wilson talking to Kripparrian. So yeah, we're gonna make this game and it's gonna have like a bunch of different skills and there's gonna be like different worlds in it, and you go to like these maps, and Crip's like, oh, that's cool. Oh yeah, yeah, this is kind of like Diablo 2. Yeah, did you play that? Like, yeah, I played it. Yeah, and that's it, right? And so that's how everything starts.
Comparing these games, several key factors emerge. Firstly, the depth of gameplay. Both Path of Exile and Last Epoch offer a level of complexity, depth of content, and customization that keeps players engaged for the long term.
Sure.
Whereas Diablo 4 does not.
Well,
Secondly,
I also want to keep in mind that like the complexity that Diablo 4 provides, the complexity that it doesn't provide is valuable for a lot of people. There are like, I'll give you an example. Escape from Tarkov. Now, I didn't like, one of the reasons why I didn't get into that game is because of how complex it is. But it's much easier for me to get into a game like PUBG. But like Escape from Tarkov is hard to get into because of how complex it is.
It's a pretty fair point. I know a lot of people that are like, no, I don't want to play PoE. It's too hard to learn. Some people like the casual gameplay.
So the complexity isn't always a positive, and sometimes it's actually, in fact, a negative.
is the value proposition. These games deliver a wealth of content without pushing players towards aggressive monetization or offering a heavy box price. The gaming community has voiced its opinion loud and clear. While Diablo 4 has its strengths, particularly in its narrative and visual representation,
I'm sitting right like 2 sections back to the left of the stage at BlizzCon. And I got to hang out with these people at the pre-party. Never mind.
it falls short in areas where Path of Exile and Last Epoch excel. This raises...
Which is, again, that's not really a bad thing. Like, they're never, like, realistically, Blizzard is never going to be able to compete with PoE in terms of complexity or pace of content. It will never happen.
questions about the sustainability of Diablo 4's model, especially in a market that offers high-quality alternatives
it's
at a
another
lower
market,
cost or even free. As we now look to the controversial pricing strategy of Diablo 4's upcoming expansion, understanding this competitive landscape becomes crucial. It's not about the price tag. It's about the value that the players perceive they are actually getting for their investment. Path of Exile offers bossing, maps, heists, labyrinths, delves, simulacrum, uber blight, crafting, a rich player economy, and the list can go on and on.
That guy, the
all
trial
kinds of different
master.
activities for players to take part in throughout the entire game. Last Epoch gives each skill its own skill tree.
Well, it's also like, think about in terms of narrative. How many characters in Diablo 4 actually have an interesting story versus how many characters in PoE are interesting? Like, I would say the Trial Master has a more compelling personality than an Arius. I like him more. I think he's cooler. A lot of the PoE characters are actually funny. I like them. Like, fucking...
I can't speak for Diablo 4, but I like Deckard and Tyrael.
are captured now, stupid beast. What, Exile? Don't you guys have nets? Einar needs to go do Einar things. Yeah, what a bullshit take? No, it's not. It's not, because you have Einar, you have, like, Alva is kind of boring. Kirak is kind of interesting, I would say. Lilith was okay. Yeah, she's okay. Cassia is great. Piety's good. The Maven is good. Yeah, man. Xana. Yeah, absolutely. Xana's good. I think the Maven is really good, actually. It's branching Exile. Yeah, there you go. The Delve guy. Yeah, the Delve guy. Nico. Yeah, Nico. There you go. And Lilith and Arius misused. Yeah, I like a lot of the characters in PoE. I just wanted to make the point that a lot of the characters in PoE actually do have great personalities.
Maybe they'll do something with Mephisto on the new expansion. He's just a pup now.
And they have compelling and interesting personalities too. Like, not every single one is as good as Einar or the Trial Master, but I still think that they're good.
Its own skill tree, multiple specializations per class, an intuitive crafting system, and its unique endgame system called the Monolith. To my knowledge, Diablo 4
really
offers
good.
a barren open world, chaos.
I've now also played Warlock and Falconer pretty in-depth, and just know that these last 2 masteries coming February 21st for Last Epoch are awesome. Sorry.
boss dungeons and a couple of bosses that you can use for target farming. Path of Exile and Last Epoch are objectively better games in my opinion. They offer far more content, more player agency, more end game systems, more items, more everything that you would want out of an ARPG, whereas Diablo 4 does not. And
I actually kind of disagree with this on an absolute level, but I think from my perspective and from his perspective, he's right. Because, like, I think that, for example, like, I think Fortnite is a better game than PUBG, but PUBG is more complex than Fortnite. At least no-build Fortnite. So, like, more complexity doesn't make a better game, and I think a simpler game is also good. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, everybody wants a simple game or a complex game. I think it's great that there's a market now.
these games are offering that for anywhere from $40 to absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to why players would be interested in a Diablo 4 expansion if it was heavily priced. And this is where I think Blizzard is starting to stumble. And while I realize it's their MO to try to take every bit they can and squeeze as much as they possibly can, my question is, what makes them think their game is worth that price in the first place when they're already still on cleanup from the launch?
Because the reality is that the people that are unhappy about Diablo 4 are a minority. And a lot of the people that hear about Diablo 4, like, they're watching the big game on Sunday and they saw a commercial for Diablo 4 and they went and they bought the game at Walmart. Like, there's a lot of them. And, like, you're never going to reach the super boomers. You're never going to reach the 43-year-old dads. It's not going to happen.
Haven't fixed many of the issues that are still in the game. There still isn't any increased stash
They saw Megan Fox want to buy the game. Yeah, true.
The first hint that we have of increased stash space is coming from this expansion, saying that it'll be included in some of these pre-ordered bundles.
Say it could be included.
The other thing to keep in mind too is while the price of these other games is far cheaper, once you are in for the box price for Diablo 4 and then the expansion, you're going to be in the hole for $150 to $200.
That's a lot of fucking money.
Money has been meaning a lot more to people over the last couple of years as, well, inflation's kind of done its whole thing.
Okay, I am going to stop it right there. Couple of points here at the end. $150 to $200 for Diablo 4 is insanely expensive. PoE is obviously free, and Last Epoch is $35, and that's all inclusive. So you don't need any third-party apps. There's never going to be any pay-to-win, no battle passes, no needing to purchase stash spaces, and that'll include all future expansions, okay? So from a price perspective, obviously PoE and LE are going to be much cheaper. Now, there's one point I want to make here at the end, and it is unfortunate that people say this over and over and over again. Diablo 4's dead. And normally when they're talking about Diablo 4's dead, they're looking at the Twitch numbers and they're looking at the engagement. Now, I can't come out and tell you like internal numbers and what it looks like, but I can tell you as a writer for Diablo 4 on Icy Veins, I own all of Barbarian and I own Werewolf for Druid. We are still getting millions and millions and millions of page views every single month. And that is even deep into seasons. So just know that when you're talking about the game is dead, yes, it might be dead from like mainstream streamer perspective and engagement on Twitch, but the core casual, whatever audience you want to call them, they are still there playing and researching. So I kind of want to leave it right there. I'm so excited about February 21st and the full 1.0 launch of Last Epoch. January 25th, we'll launch Warlock Week, where I'm going to break down every single day a part of the new mastery. That'll be on my YouTube channel and on Icy Veins. And the future is bright. 2024 is going to be awesome. Asmon, we invite you to play Last Epoch. You know you want to do it. Hopefully you will swing by at launch. And Legendary Drop, thank you for making this video. I will link the full thing in the description. 2 asks at the end of the video. Ask number 1, I'm hoping today is the day I have earned your subscription. I'm hoping today is the day you make the decision to push that little red button. I would really appreciate it, but of course, only if you think I've earned it. And ask number 2, check out my Patreon. Thank you to the first 91 members that have signed up. I get asked all the time, what's the best way to support? And Patreon is it. You get the most bonus content. Game night is coming up for Patreon Saturday the 6th, so 1/6. And we just got a lot of stuff coming to the future, and you get all the exclusive content and the VIP lounge. Okay, I'm done. Hopefully you're entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.